is. It is Yo Girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the drama life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice, hoping to see justice before all face too big. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Anyways, I'm coming through today, April the 28th, 2024. I am here to tell you a story time. And I mean, I have been holding on to this story for a while because I always said that, oh, I'm going to set myself up. Like with my channel, I always had big dreams of my channel growing. Like most YouTubers, they start out kind of just vlogging on their phones or whatever, or they start out on a lower level, and over time they escalate to their content being better and better and better, like having better lighting, having better backgrounds, having better, like a whole setup, an area where they set up and do their videos and stuff like that, which that still is in my future wanting to do as a uh YouTuber. But right now I'm basically trying to squeeze YouTube into my chaotic life. So I vlog with you guys on the go. So like now I'm parked and I got this horrid light coming in from my car. So it doesn't come in crisp and golden and looking nice. So it's quite weird. It looks backlit. Actually, I am backlit, which is horrible. You're supposed to be facing the light. But said all that rambling to say, if I don't just do the darn story, I'll never get it out. Because just waiting for certain stories to tell once I got it all together, when am I ever going to get it all together? If y'all been here with me for any length of time, your girl, at this point, when am I going to get it together, right? Because I've been struggling to get it together forever. So I have been on a journey since I'm looking down the barrel of being 43, right? But since I was 40, it's like something broke. And I started to finally understand life, my life, not just life. I mean, I think I think I was always wise beyond my years. I always had an old soul. I always pretty much tried to listen to my elders, my parents, and always tried to do the best. And but but I never seem to, even with trying to do all the right things, it doesn't seem like my life kind of formulated the outcome that you would think you would get from trying to do everything right. Um, and I did soul searching and just praying to God, like, what is wrong with me? Because I am a critical person of myself, self critical. And if something is wrong, I want to try to fix it. I overanalyze everything that I do. If it doesn't work, I'm like, well, I know it's something I did wrong. What can I do better or whatever? And it wasn't until crying out to the Lord saying, what is wrong with me? I was turning 40. Why do I get hate for love? I do the right things and I get horrible things happen back for me to me, and I just don't understand it. It will drive you crazy because in your mind you know whether you have been good or whether you have been bad. You know whether you have done right by people and whether you have not. You know whether you have done things with ulterior, I can't even say it, ulterior, girl, you know what I'm saying, motives, or whether you did it from the kindness of your heart. And I know that all I have done in my life is always try to help others. I've always tried to help myself as well. I want to get up. Here he come with this ice cream truck. And his ice cream expensive, girl. I had went and bought my little granddaughter because you can't just chill at the park without them trying to sell you something. Like, girl, Got my Dunkin' Donuts because I'm feeling depressed. I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling down. Um, and a drink. I had me a milkshake yesterday. I don't know why, like luxury drinks, not luxury drinks, but like they're not really, but it is kind of luxury because you can't really afford to have them. But when they do the most for a drink, it just makes me feel so good. I don't know why. Ever since I had this one coffee that had the nutter butter around the lid of the drink, girl, I've been trying to satisfy that craving because they discontinued it. But yeah, so kind of depressed. Got sidetracked. Okay, but I was always trying to find out like why. I don't get it because as you're growing up, you're taught to, I'm sorry, listen to your parents, do the right thing, listen to your teachers, do your work, do your chores, work hard. All these things that you're told to do, and you will be rewarded for them. But in my life, I felt like I've done them and I was rewarded punishment for doing the right things. It always feels like I'm being punished for doing the right thing. So I just cried out to God and I'm like, what is wrong with me? And that's when He started revealing to me about narcissistic relationships and how narcissistic relationships, having just one of them in your life. But now that I look back and analyze over my entire life, I've had many narcissistic relationships. And what they do is they chip away at you. Like that little thing that was on what's that movie I like? What's that movie I like? Shawshank Redemption. I might go home and watch that tonight. That might make me feel a little better, girl. But Shawshank Redemption, when he had that little rock axe thing, and he was chipping, chipping, chipping. It was like it'll take you forever to do something with that, but that little chipping away, girl. So that's how they do. They chip away at you slowly. So you don't even really realize that you're changing over time. It changes your confidence. You could be a very ultra confident person, and then after all that chipping, now you have no confidence. Or you're very self-doubtful. You doubt yourself in everything. And I'm pretty much like that. Before I've even started a project, I'm like, I can't do that. And then I come out with the best project ever. And it creates that. But those things were instilled in me slowly over time. And I started to realize that I didn't even know that was abuse. That is literally mental abuse. Like making you think that your reality is not so. And you cannot trust yourself, so you need to trust these other individuals, right? So I was like, what is wrong? Why does everybody hate me? Like my family will mimic they love me. But just like I showed you in another video, they'll say, I love you, but their actions is like they stabbing you. I hate you, I hate you. So it's I love you, I love you, I love you. The stabbing action with the I love you, I love you, I love you. And you're confused. You're like, do you really look like a person that really loved me? Would they treat me this way? Like, it made my mind all distorted, right? And I started to wonder, like, why bad things happen to me? Like, why out of everybody, I meet the one? I mean, I'm telling you, all growing up, I felt unloved. I felt like I was everybody's last priority, even including my parents. I was the oldest. Well, on my mother's side, I was the oldest. So I was like the last priority within the children because I had three little siblings and I had one sibling that was sick. That's my sister that I caregive for. So I don't know. I want to do content on that too. Like, I think I'm just gonna free flow with my content because my channel's not really picking up. So I'm just gonna talk about whatever I need to talk about. And if you take something from it, you take something from it. But being a sibling of a special needs child, it it is actually, I don't know, it does some things to you because you always know your needs are not as important. As a child, that's how it feels. Your needs are not as important and you know that. So you always gotta kind of keep yourself together because you know your parents need to put that attention towards the special needs child almost. I maybe I'll watch some content on it and see what other people are saying about it. And then also caregiving. That is a special task. And sometimes it feels like people don't realize how much it actually, that's a lot. That's almost like a second job, right? But I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. My mind wanders. And it's very hard for me to stay on track, right? And God has been revealing that too. I honestly think I show signs of ADHD, which probably should have been diagnosed in me like years and years ago, and maybe I could have had some help or whatever. Um, Last side note, Mel Robbins was talking about that being diagnosed with ADHD late in life. How many women actually get diagnosed late? And they could have been really like their whole lives once, I guess, you get everything in order, your whole life could actually have been better. And you're like, I may not have struggled the way I struggled. Are you kidding me? It's just my brain doesn't know how to focus, like for real. But God has been revealing a lot to me. So I'm like, why do people hate me? Like it's like I try to be the best, and I know, like, say you had a friend that was just the average friend. I was going above and beyond. Anytime you had a need, I was coming through. And it's like you never had to really pay me back. Honestly, I mean, you could if you really desperately needed something, and I you say you'll pay me back, and you didn't pay me back. Like I'll just brush it off. I'll be like, because my mother taught me when I was a child, don't lend money if you don't have it to give away, because that will ruin friendships. I have a story about that when I was a little kid when I lent somebody something and they wouldn't give it back, and I couldn't believe the whole girl wouldn't talk to me just because I wanted my stuff back. So I learned long time ago that if you can't help somebody and you can't stand to lose it, don't even give it, because lending and borrowing amongst friends and family members can break relationships. But I was always the one trying to come through. I'm always the one you could pick up the phone and call any time of day to come through and help you. If you have a problem, I'm sitting there trying. I'm a quick thinker. I'm always trying to figure out a way to get beyond problems. And I'm trying to figure out your problem. And I still got my problems, but I'm spending all my time on your problems. Like, that's how the relationships were. And I'm like, why does everybody hate me? And all I do is honestly love everyone around me. Now, what I didn't know, that was a narcissistic spirit. And upon watching a lot of content, I'm telling you, like the last 2 to 3 years since God revealed this to me, I've been watching narcissistic um, con- I can't even say it, content. And it slowly shows, it starts to reveal that when you're an empath, that narcissists tend to gravitate towards empaths. and I'm finding out that I'm an empath. So it was so many revelations given to me upon turning 40, right? So I want to tell this story. So a lot of bad things. Just I did all that needless stuff. Just to tell you, a lot of bad things have happened to me. And I can't understand, like, is this literally what I deserve? Or am I just cursed? That's what it starts feeling like. But my early 20s were crazy. Like, I was going through a lot. Like, I grew up being like the least tended to. Like I was saying with my parents, I was the least one that they had to give attention to because they had to deliver their first attention to my sicker, my not sicker, my sibling that was sick, and then they had to give attention to the younger siblings because you already know that I am 9 years older than my sister under me, Kristen. I am 15 years older than my sister, Aaliyah. And I am 17 years older than my sister, Nakia. So there is a far age gap. So when a parent has these little kids and they have an older child, who is your attention going to go to? Like, I literally can't even blame my mother. My mother was going through so much. It was so much. I seen my mother go through a lot. Like, even her own mental health. I seen her breakdowns. I seen when she felt like she had nowhere to turn. Like, how do I get out of this? How do I even manage this? So I seen all that firsthand as a young teenager. So any problems I had, I didn't want to bring them towards her, and even into young adulthood. So I always grew up feeling alone, unwanted, like not like I used to think my parents just kept me, but they just didn't. They really didn't want me. That's what I used to think. Now, that is not how I think as a 40-year-old, but I'm just telling you how I felt as a young adult. I felt like my parents did not want me. And I really didn't feel like nobody loved me. Honestly, nobody loves me. And I'm always doing things wrong no matter how I try to do them right anyway. So I'm not even good enough to be loved, right? So come along somebody shows me real love, and you know who that was. Mr. Marcello Jackson. And instantly, someone who felt like they were like just, I couldn't even be good enough to not be scum. Like, I can't even do enough good to not be hated, was finally loved. And upon finding that love, you already know he was wrongfully convicted. He was like literally given this love that I've always dreamed of, always wanted, always desired, and then snatched from me. So it's almost like it's more of a cruel joke than a blessing. Like, it's almost been more of a torment to me than a blessing. Because here's this love you always wanted, and now you can't have it, and you must watch everyone around you be happy and have that, you know. So I had that situation going on. So at 22, I had become a single mother. My The father of my child was in prison, very far away. I barely had, I had a 1999 Grand Am. No, I'm sorry, not 1999. It was a 1990 Grand Am. It was red. Pontiac Grand Am. Boy, that car bring back so much memories. So I had a old non-working car. I was working at KFC, and to move up a little bit, I because KFC, I think I was only making 725, 750, I think, because I was a cashier. But the minimum that KFC would pay you was like 725, and minimum wage at that time was 515. So that was a big step up from the 515 that I made at Winn Dixie. I went for a job at KFC, so I made a little bit more money. Um, and then one day, the manager from Walmart comes in, and he's like, "What are y'all making here? I'll pay all y'all more to work at my Walmart." So me and this good friend of mine, still to this day, she's like, "Girl, you are one of the most persistent people I ever in my life met. Like, you literally, when you want something, you go after that and you don't stop till you get it." Right? But she was like, "Girl, let's go into that Walmart. Let's see what he talking about. Let's see what he talking about." So I was supposed to. That's what he said. He was gonna make. We was gonna make more money, which I needed more money because I just couldn't. I still was in the realm of, my husband had been wrongfully convicted, but I still was in that mindset that I was gonna get him a new lawyer, so that he can appeal, and still trying to figure that out. So I'm like, yeah, I go to a job that makes more money. And it actually worked out because it was working overnight. Now, it was not more money, to be honest. They did not pay. I don't even think I was getting paid the shift differential at all. And then at that time, it was women. It was discovered that they were paying women less than what they were paying men. So I don't think I actually got the more money like he offered. But what that job did offer me was, by it being the third shift, it made it where I didn't have to struggle to pay daycare, because I could not afford daycare, because Marcello was the one that was paying daycare for money while we both went to work. But afterwards, I couldn't really afford it. And money, I had been on the waiting list for 4C since money was born. And I was told that you can't get 4C, honestly, unless you get food stamps, because once you get food stamps, then they move you down the list. Otherwise, I'll just be on the list from here until Judgment Day. I'll be on the waiting list. But you don't really qualify for food stamps because you're working. Now, you ain't making no money. And you ain't making no, they love to tell you make too much. Too much of what? Too much bills? Like, I ain't making too much money, but they love to tell you you're making too much to get assistance. So I couldn't get the food stamps, which meant I couldn't get the daycare. So I was like, I just got to figure this out. So I started working overnight, graveyard shift so I started my job at Walmart overnight in 2002. And it felt like when Marcello went to prison wrongfully in 2002, baby, that was my own prison that I went to. Whew, working at that job. But I worked overnight, and it was so crazy. It would have you, at first, when I first started working overnight, the company was still pretty good. It was fun, kind of, even being up overnight, even though I got home so tired, and I would try to creep in the door and not wake money up so that I can get a couple hours of sleep before she wakes up. And that's exactly what I got. Just a couple hours of sleep. She woke up. She was bouncing around the house all day. And then she'll take a little nap. And then I get that small little nap. And then it's like 4 or 5-ish, where I had enrolled into hair school by 2003. So at 2002, I just had my daughter, and I was working overnight and stuff like that. By 2000, I had my daughter. I said that confusingly. I had my daughter in 2001. By 2002, all I was doing was working overnight and trying to take care of our daughter alone now. Trying to get in the swing of being a single mother, right? By 2003, I enrolled into hair school, right? So I was just thinking life is going to get better once I finish hair school. Now, fast forward, y'all already know how that turned out. But I was thinking that it was going to I was going to finish hair school. It was a tight squeeze to try to do hair school, work overnight, and keep my daughter all day long. It was very, 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 it ain't even enough varies to tell you how hard that was. But I got through it, right? But it was one day when I had, and this is what's so crazy. I enrolled into hair school and I was to go the evening shift. I think it was from like 6ish. It might have been 5:30 or 5:30, 6ish, sometime around there till 9 p.m. And then it was in the same city as the Walmart I worked. So I was within that hour, I would rush to work, take a nap in the parking lot, and then clock in, within that hour. So that made one more nap that I would get for the day. But one day I had got this letter. So I said all that to set up how my life was, like the darkness over my life. Actually, someone prophesied that there is a dark cloud over my head. That's a whole nother story. But this was the gloominess of how my life was. So one day I got this letter and it said from the hit and run fatality unit. And it was in Georgia. Like, the fuck? Like, what is this with my name on it? The hit and run fatality unit in Georgia. Mind you, I live in Orlando, Florida. I don't live in Georgia. Nowhere near Georgia at all. We about what, 8 hours apart? So I'm like, what the jail is this? So I get the little thing and I'm like, I call the number, boop, 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 and the phone rings. Then it picks up. Hello, hit and run fatality unit. I'm like, huh? Like what? Okay, so then I spoke to them and I'm like, I got this thing saying that this is about my accident. What accident? I have not been in no accident. Like, what are you talking about? And they said, yeah, it was a hit and run that, and I'm like completely confused. I'm like, this is not me. I don't get this. Yeah, it got your name on it, basically. So this starts my identity theft. 2003, I was a victim of identity theft. And that's how I found out from that thing saying this is the report from the hit and run fatality unit, right? So after that, it was crazy. I started, and this is before they had all those ID lock and this and that to monitor your credit and stuff like that. Nobody really, identity theft was a new crime. It was a very new crime, which they probably been doing this forever, but police were claiming they didn't know what was what. So I did file a report saying that this is not me and stuff like that. So I had my initial police report and I ended up just getting bills in the mail from everywhere. And I'm like, I got a hospital bill, big, huge operation bill. And I'm like, I don't live in Georgia. What are y'all talking about? Why are you sending me a bill for some operation? Number one, if you want to check my body, I have not had no operations. I hadn't even had my carpal tunnel surgery yet. So I hadn't had no operations. So I don't know why you're billing me for operations in Georgia. I live in Orlando, Florida. So that bill came. And the only way I was able to dispute that and they take that off my credit was because the day that the service of the operation was done was my first day in school, in hair school. So when I seen that date, I'm like, there's no way I know I didn't have no operation. But I was like I could show you my school records. Like I literally had to find my school, get my the secretary of my school to send records showing that I was in class. Like I was in attendance in class. And I wasn't in no operation. So, and then what they were trying to say with the hit and run, that they were saying, and I'm like, I wasn't even, what are you talking about? I work here, I go to school here. How could I even have time to be in Atlanta getting in car accidents, having um, surgeries and stuff? And what they told me is it's not that unreasonable that you could have got off of your night shift, drove all the way to Georgia, and then drove back, did whatever, got into whatever accident, had your surgery, and then drove back that day to make it to work the next day. And I'm like, how y'all? That's when those investigators be making them puzzle pieces fit. That's a stretch. How in the, I guess that could have been possible in some type of life form. I was gonna drive all the way to Georgia. Now that's 8 hours and 8 hours back. So literally, once I got off work, I would have had to start driving to Georgia right then, get into the accident, have the surgery, and then return right back and to make it to work on time. It made no sense, but they kept saying that yes, it is so, because they would say that they're gonna have their fraud department investigated, and every time the fraud departments would investigate, they would come back that it's me. I'm like, what type of investigation y'all doing when it doesn't even, how could that be me? You know what I'm saying? But they were still trying to stick me with that stuff. So end up, the operation was taken off because they was like, yeah, she was in school. There's no way, because I went to school in the evening. If I was in school and work, there now the time frame is shorter. There's no time to be at both, right? So end up, I got a few more bills, and it was from the same person coming in as me, going to the hospital. And I'm like, how is they steady going to the hospital? And I said, y'all, listen, I live in Orlando, Florida. I don't ever want to be seen at your hospital. Please, if anybody comes under my name, reject them. Don't see them. They was like, man, we can't do that. If they come 1,000,001 times under your name, we're going to see them under your name. And I'm like, it's not me. And they're like, yes, it is. It's you, because it's attached to your name. I'm like, I'm freaking out, going crazy. And then I asked my mom, like, what do I do? Like, literally, my mother didn't have no answers. Nobody knew what to do in this situation because this is early 2000s. So the medical bills were racking up. Okay, after medical bills, I start to pull my because you had to put a fraud alert on your credit score. I mean, not your credit score, with the credit agencies. Nowadays, if they don't report correctly, you can take action against them. But of course, this is early 2000s. I didn't know any of that. So I'm reporting each thing. So I'm constantly pulling my credit report. And every time I pull my credit report, I'm finding new things. This person is applying for cars. They're applying for phones. Oh, you had, so I would literally get my credit report. So that means whatever action they applied for, they applied for several different phones, cars. It was so much. And every time I would find out, it was by the time it was on my credit report, right? So think about how long they would have already had to have had whatever that was to hit my credit report. But that's how I was tracking everything. So it, of course, was a delay. They could be doing stuff today. It was almost like every day it was something new. It was a new credit inquiry on there for credit cards, a new phone one. Um, Even came out, girl, I'm going too fast. It's hard to remember all of the things because this is 20 years ago, but it is flooding back to me as I'm thinking about it. So I pull my credit report and I'm disputing, and most of the disputes, like some of them, and you got to keep writing back and forth. You had to get notarized letters, which notarized letters are not free letters. But then I ended up finding out that you can get notarized letters through your credit union. I don't know if you can still do that, but back then they used to notarize letters for you through the credit union. So that I didn't have to pay, for the cost of that. But I would have to write all these disputes. I would have to have the thing notarized and then attach my police report. And then some creditors would take it off. Some creditors was like, no, this is you, hon. You owe this. So needless to say, my credit went from already just trying to build your credit, because your credit's already not that great at 20, because you don't really have a credit history like that. So I started out basically with a horrible credit history because all this stuff was hitting. And I'm like, what? How do I don't know how I deserve this. I don't even know how to get out of this, and I don't know what's going on, right? So I got all these bills and I'm tracking them through my credit reports. All right. So later, okay, yeah, we had all those the hospital bills. They said they was not going to stop seeing her. So that kept accumulating, and then the regular bills and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was a lot going on. So, and it was a lot of fight, and I started getting scared because I'm like, this person is literally me now, right? So I end up calling Georgia. I don't know why. I ended up calling Georgia, and I don't know what I was calling for. It was the DMV. I don't know why I called the DMV. I guess it was about the hit and run or something. I really cannot remember. I wish I could remember everything. And it may come back to me later where I could go in and do other parts of the story. But right now, I'm just trying to give you an overall briefing because this is what I can remember from right off bat. And I don't want to continue to delay the story, right? But for some reason, I called the DMV. And upon calling the DMV, they looked for me. I gave them my social, I gave them my name, and they couldn't find me. There's like, so how are you getting these bills and stuff like that? And I'm like, I don't know, but this is crazy. It doesn't make no sense to me. Okay, so further looking through, they said, "Oh, we know what happened. Congratulations, you just got married." I got married. Now my husband is in prison. Girl, who I got married to? There's like, yes, you just got married. We see right here where your name went from blank Dixon to blank, an African last name. I'm like, huh? No. And then they continue to call me by Miss and then the African last name. I'm like, you got to freaking be kidding me. So this person literally had got married under my name. I was married to an African man for years that I've never met. Never met. So then I'm like, I'm going crazy because I'm like, this person must really, truly, they're acting out who I am. And I used to watch a lot of them Lifetime movies. Once you want somebody's life, you really want somebody's life, you have to get rid of the original. So I'm thinking, what happens if they try to come after me? And then I was like, what if they got arrested, or they did something and my name was given, and the police told me, "Yep, we coming to arrest you." And I'm like, I ain't. Look, I'm trying to tell you this is not me, but you mean to tell me if she does something and gives my name, I'm getting arrested? Yep. Just hope she don't do it. I'm like, what? I like literally this is not making any sense to me and I don't know where to go. Couldn't afford no lawyer. I at that time had a legal aid lawyer, but even her, she was like, this is new. I really don't know how to do anything for you to be honest. So she didn't do too much. But sometimes like letters being written from a lawyer is more credible to them than me writing the letter. So it helped with some little things, but it didn't solve my problem. Okay, so I was like, but what if she really, because this started making me like paranoid. What if this person really starts trying to be me? Like literally they've taken everything that is mine and now they're living as me. What if they just wanted to complete the job and just be me? I was like, what if they come and pick my daughter up from daycare? Yep, ma'am. If she shows the ID that's you, then yep, she'll be. So I'm like, this is so freaking scary. I didn't know what to do. It was so much going on. But I'm going to stop here because this is long. I wish I could have told the story exactly how it happened, but it's been so much time lapse. And what I should have done is sat down and wrote notes before I started to try to tell this story, which is what I'm going to do before I give you part two. Oh, that rhymed, and I didn't even know that it rhymed. But I gotta go with my granddaughter. We're gonna go take her out for the day, get a little time to play with her, and ease my mind with everything going on. Um, and I will continue it. But yeah, my mind was going crazy. But I'm gonna tell you in the next part how God. Now I always thought that there had to be some type of curse attached to me while all this bad for good I get. But God revealed to me in a dream who stole my identity. All right, guys. So I'm going to let you go. All right. Hiss your girl Cadillac.